Okay, cool. I think that's switched over. Yes. Like from this exact person, I wonder. It is a good. It is a good cover. No yawning. That didn't happen. All the Kingdom Hearts games? No, you can't. You can't say all Kingdom Hearts games. If you say all Kingdom Hearts games, is it less like 1, 2, and 3, or are you saying all? Because it is possible, but you have to beat each one like Kingdom Hearts game once a month. How many Kingdom Hearts games are there? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't count the mobile games. There's technically a prologue, so I say partly 8. There's 9. 10. There's 10. So if you were to yeah, other than the mobile game, it's literally just 10 games. So yeah, you could beat it all in 1 year if you just beat one per month almost. The ones I have access to. I mean, if you have 1.5 and 2.5, you have access to 6 of those games. And then 2.8 is the rest, really. Which is really just 8 plus a prologue. And then there's 3, which is 9. And then there's a Melody of Memories, which is 10. Don't put me in the background. Put me in your foreground. Justin, that's rude. Alright, let's see. Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's continue. The Memories of the Clouded Kokoro. Investigation Part 1. Start playing the save data. Yes. Yes. Sandwich!
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight.
Why is the audio weird?
Dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day.
Why is it like this?
Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
I read all these, so this just takes extra 3 hours per session. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. Hello there, who could this be? Is that James? Is James in the game? Okay, so that is James saying. Okay, is the audio just weird? James, can you talk again?
Hello.
Yeah, is that just my headset? I'm assuming that's just my headset. Because everything is coming in like staticky, robotic sound. I'm just like, is that me or is that the game? James, can you talk again?
Hello. How are you?
Okay, that's just my headset. That was weird. I was hearing like everything was like, it's like James was like hello. It was like sometimes it would stay normal and then it would be like robotic echoey. I was just like, wow. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. Also just realized I have audio set high for my other computer. Ooh. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. From its slumber, I would say. But yeah, no. Staticky audio here. It's good on my end. What the heck is going on? James, can you keep talking?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Yeah, no, the audio is good on my end, Justin, now. I don't know why it's going... Is it actually going badly on Twitch, or is that something you have to just restart for? Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Rebel. James! Get me some food.
Food?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I guess corn dog.
Okay, now James is getting staticky now. What is going on? Is my audio settings going a little haywire right now?
I don't know. I'm also not talking super loud because it's pretty.
Oh no, it doesn't matter if you're talking loudly or not. You're definitely coming in a robotic static sound. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, even the music is getting us some staticky. I think something is wrong with my audio stuff that I unfortunately cannot handle unless I stop and restart the stream. So, this episode of Ryunosuke's Resolve will be a little staticky. The static episode. But yeah, James, get me some food because I'm rumbling. You're my wife. Do it. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. We're also getting to the point where I have to revoice some characters, and I don't remember what I did for voices for a lot of them. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Shom's suit. I almost thought that says Mr. Shom's wife. When did he get married? He got married to me! And say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. I would say more daughter than anything. Or adoptive daughter, I guess. But I know they're not exactly family, but still. 30th of August, 7:28 a.m. Sholmes' suite. Bruno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation, repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. Please get away from my face. That's just creepy. James, help.
Oh, that's concerning close.
I got a man very close to my face. I need an adult. Hello there. So that's it. The truth is as clear to me as day. James. Now Photoshop that to make some kind of abomination.
Actually, I don't think I have my Photoshop software installed.
You gotta do it.
Keep this for you.
The truth is as clear as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants an explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten your third button on your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. I can't read my lines without stumbling over these English blasphemous words. Get prepared for me to can't read certain words because I fail at English. Can I talk now? But of course! Though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. Hurley pulled your button off? I need an adult! Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. Not the button! But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. And why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Oh, I like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. Oh, and it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it was. Somewhere, thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. But Hurley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Well, that really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock James. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. I mean, technically, Ryunosuke Naruhodo did not know his name.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. It goes cold. I have new herbal tea. Herbal tea.
Is it herbal or herbal? For the English pronunciation, I forget.
For you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholm's lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventure of Herlock Sholmes, as published in Randist magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really?
That's right. She had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun.
Let me move! Goodbye. I like how he made it a little bit Japanese. Sugar and milk, really? It's a shovel. I like a messy desk, honestly. It works better with my head that I have a messy desk rather than like an actual clean, organized desk. Aren't I supposed to? Okay, let's use the D-pad to look over. I was like, why can I move over? I was like, I just click over there. Oh, he never went to Susato's room. But now is a perfect time to look. She won't know. The internet won't tell her. Because the internet doesn't exist in this time period. Yeah, we're figuring out that she was called there for a reason through a lie. God, that face you posted, James, is just gonna haunt me forever.
What face? Oh, that face.
I can type with my eyes shut, you know.
You mean as long as you know where the keys are, you can actually type pretty fast. Like you can type without even looking at it. Like it's not impossible for sure. Same for Hurley. The other day he polished one full bottle of alkaloids. What? Oh my god, Hurley is actually taking drugs, people. I know I could just like, there's nothing here for me to look at, but I guess I could just be looking at stuff. Because I'm curious.
Yeah, it made it worse.
Oh my word. What is that dot on his cheek?
Oh, we just set up the cursor. Hold on. It should be gone now. There we go.
Oh my word. That is a smile only a mother could love.
It is Sholmes, right?
Yep. Books, paper, scientific implements. Just Sholmes needs to tidy up.
Okay, dude. Okay.
What happened?
This is devolving further into insanity.
That, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Jack Sparrow eyeballs, and like when he was making like dead man's helmet. No, not dead man's chest. Burning fire, that is a cold. feel like we're gonna open those at some point.
Does this qualify me as an artist making Photoshop?
I mean, I did lay. No, I gave you the mod one. I mean, you did give me some emotes, yes. The Mario one. Thank you, autoplay. All right. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post. What do you want?
Is Andrew plotting something evil?
Evil. Evil Bjork.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful handwriting. I wish I could read it.
Pizza time. And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? Let me get more water. After this conversation, I'll get more water. She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she's actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
I cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsumi appeared in that trial as a witness. Natsumi. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man twice. You know, in those two cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. Hello, we have been trying to get in contact with you regarding your vehicle's extended warranty. Alright, James. Throw the band hammer. I don't in charge of I don't need a warranty on my car. I drive it without crashing.
He didn't have two mustaches, Harley.
Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. Very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Alright. James, entertain people. I need to go get some water. You and Andrew have a conversation.
How are you, Andrew? How's it going? What can I edit? Oh, I think he was just wanted something cursed. What are we setting things on fire? Big dunk. Big dunk, dunk, dunk. Big dunk, 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 dunk. Big dunk, 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 big dunk, big dunk. Big dunk, big dunk, big dunk, big dunk, big dunk.
Let's see. Another mega lol. I mean, I was thinking that, but I also was not sure like what else can be done with that outside of like making it more freaky looking. Tell us a story. I think Nick wants something cursed for amusement. Yes. Give me a pick and I'll do something with it. Yeah. This was the original before I got my hands on it. Yes, that's what James just posted recently. Yes. I want something cursed. Startling news. So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes. It's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Mr. Sato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago? For what purpose? Perhaps something that Mr. Natsume said to her apparently. She suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mr. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send the telegram. Oh, that case, yes. What's the haunted lodgings again? Justin, give me a summary. I don't care if the game's gonna give me a summary. I want your summary. I'm not gonna play the game further until you give me a summary. Gives me plenty of time to finish my munchies. Also, I'm just noticing, what the heck is your guys' emotes? Andrew and James.
Oh, this is just why is that guy on fire? I guess. He follows this guy named Titan. He calls himself Titan.
I've never seen that for Justin. Now I'm asking you to give me a summary of the haunted lodging. Was the haunted lodgings a thing from the last game? That's what I'm asking. I'm pretty sure it was. Is that the one with the? Was it the fourth case? So it wasn't even in the first case. It was just like some. Oh right. You know what? You mentioned this. This was like one of those random cases that you said that happened before. But it was one of those cases that never happened in the game, but it would happen in the past during that time. What a weird, what a weird setup. Honestly, I would have like. Did they even make a hint in it in the first? Takes place. Yeah. Did they even take a like a gave a hint of it like in the first game? Because I think it would have been a much better like setup instead of just like randomly putting it. Because honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of like them. Okay, so they did show it like they hinted it in the first game. In the case. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember those. I know some characters, but yeah. I feel like I might. But I feel like well, no. I remember there was a couple characters. Yeah, I remember there was a couple characters in the last game that I remember seeing that they were pretty significant because they had unique models, but they did nothing with them. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't remember that. Oh no, wait, I do remember. That's James. One of them is James.
Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I had compiled the whole story with a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that. Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? James has to voice at least one thing of dialogue from him now. It is now required by Nicholas. One sleepy hours rest that. Alright, James, you read this. Oh no, wait. No, I read this. But why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Alright, James, you read this part, because apparently Sholmes is going to be your character for a little bit. Read it, James.
It's kind of hard to really actually get proper like performance or anything.
Just read it.
Like, indeed, it was due to a delicacy.
When did you become Jamaican?
No. For a moment, I was like, wait, no, I think I was just possessed by the spirit of an Indian man.
Oh no! James! That's the wrong ethnicity!
I don't know where that came from.
Dude, to tell That's literally what you were doing.
I don't know where I was just like, boy, I was like, okay, a voice, and then I was like, wait,
Jamaican.
no, where's this going?
Just read the line. And that's all. Justin's asking you to just read one line of dialogue. I think you just ruined his entire character just because of that one accent.
Okay, I'm trying to read it here.
I'm waiting for you, James, to finish the line. You can't just end it off there. You have to finish the line, James.
Due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe.
There you go. Good job.
There, that sounds. That's a voice that's not going to get me canceled.
No, it's not. Oh. That's right. Telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, no, no. He just said he was suffering from high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would she do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that, I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
He got dressed really quickly. Hmm? Ah, well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of a matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later.
Adieu. He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Sosuke-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published by all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I found them at last. Iris, are they... No, the notes about the case, that's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read about them, Bruno?
So I'm guessing this is going to be a case where I go flashback, and it's basically us rereading the entire case from start to finish, and then we have to piece it together. Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. Daughters. So yeah, I am right. I was like, if it's going in the past, it's gonna have to make me play it like a regular case. Or it could just be like a story play, and I could just have it like play out for me. Her.
That's the spirit.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again, together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in the court that followed. Have fun going down memory lane again, yeah. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. So legally, he can't do anything. It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Somehow, she's not dead. Or was not dead at the time. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attack her, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Sosuke-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. The only case out of that... that only case that felt so out of place out of all the cases, because they all felt connected, this one felt like the most out of place one. I get it was introduced character like Soseki-san and everything, but still, it felt so out of place in the first game. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a handsome and headed immediately to the hospital. Oh, they're reusing the same hospital, but it has a rat. 21st February, 5:30 a.m. Mr. Bartholomew's Hospital, Recovery Ward. There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh. You're late. What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. It's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy, and feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had to have been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim's over there. She's only just regained consciousness. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back.
Her name is... yes, here we are. Miss Green.
Examine the rat!
Eek! A mouse, Naruto. An enormous mouse.
Vermin in the hospital? It doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to excellence of this facility, if that's what you're thinking. This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. This round wooden figure isn't the most charming, isn't it?
I think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruto.
It's an artist mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Ah, yes. It's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks like about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
My, Mr. Naruto. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Low battery? Nani? There are lots of bottles in the cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient, I feel sure you take some medicine by mistake when you're half asleep.
That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
Oh, I have no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you are half asleep as well.
Oh shoot! Alright! There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Susato. Looks like a treatment notes of whoever was occupied by it. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear, how worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Sure, a lot of cabinets, medicine in the cabinet though. Let's see, reach says yes, you're right. Can't imagine package for two. Wait, what? Turn me into a criminal. She always thinks the worst for Mr. Risotto. Can I move out of here? Yeah. I run away from the hospital! God freaking dang it. Iris? Oh my god, focus. Alright, I'm not gonna spend time just clicking on everything, because that's gonna take a lot of time. I just wanted to see if I could go back and leave. Hello, woman. Good morning. Hello, I'm, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm from the Empire of Japan.
No, what was it? You laughed at. Are you the man who...
No. I'm a lawyer. And I'm Miss Susato Makotoba. Pleased to meet you.
Oh, was it you laughed then? Are you the one?
No, I assure you, I'm Naruhodo's judicial assistant. I'm a lawyer. Run! Hello, Tashami. How you doing? We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Hoi. Welcome. I hope you're doing well on this lovely night, or day, or wherever you are. I do not know where you live, so I hope your day is going well. Good evening to where we are at. If it's the morning, good morning. If it's the Alabama, oh my gosh, it's really late. Right, I forgot. It's morning now, yeah. So good morning. Yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of this. I'm just reading all the main dialogue. Side dialogue, I generally skip. Not skip, but don't read out loud. What? What, James? Ohio gozaimasu. We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes.
Best wishes for me? Thank you. I'm Olive.
Name puns. Really? Olive green? Really?
I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not what is it. What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. No, it's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we are here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day. The fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been resolved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I'm in.
Indeed it has, my dear madame, spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruto's hard work in court that solved the case.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh, I see.
Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never regained consciousness. That was selfish of me.
Oh, no. We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. Hey, I get it. You gotta play the blue jazz. Alright, about yourself. Boo! You can't just boo. This game is all about puns. There's also Nintendo games all about puns. You cannot just boo games. Well, you can't just boo bad puns, but still. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Too low-hanging fruit. Well, to be honest, though, that is the standard of all fruits in this kind of series, so... get used to it, is what I say. If I'm playing this game to its completion, so get used to it. So you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best.
Thank you, Tashimi, for the follow. Welcome to the gamer crew. There you eyes. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. I will say, though, like, as much as I play this and other games, like, on a sporadic notice, so I don't always consistently play these weekly, let alone, like, consistently at all, because this is, like, my first time in, like, months since I picked up this game again, and this game is long, only because I'm reading every single main dialogue, and it's gonna take me a while to get through all the dialogue and everything, and I basically do a session per part. So when a part ends, is basically I call it there. Unless the part's super, super short.
I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
We understand you both consider the long games in the series. Longer than Case 5. Yeah, I was gonna say that Case 5, let alone, could take on most of this game. This is one of the lamer cases, unfortunately, though. So you have played this game for sure. I am a fan of the Ace Attorney series, and I played all of them. 1, 2, 3, Apollo Justice, and Dual Destinies. I have yet to beat the Spirit of Justice. I have Investigations 1 and 2. And yeah, this is the game. Like, this is most of the series. Oh yeah, it gets really good again. Yeah, and as Paragon is saying, no spoilers. I do appreciate you joining in and seeing my reactions, because again, this is all blind. I don't want spoilers. I try not to get asked for hints. If I'm absolutely stuck on something, I will ask, and I will verbally say it. I will not be like, and I'll make it very clear. Sometimes I rhetorically say it, like what are they thinking, or what am I supposed to do here? Like, something like that. So I've yet to do Apollo Justice Trilogy. I freaking hate it called Apollo Justice Trilogy, and that is just me because only one game features Apollo Justice as the main character. The rest of it just has him as a side character. Ah. But no, I Apollo Justice in itself is, I get it why it's not the favorite of a lot of people. It's like a black sheep. It's easier to say. That's fine. I'm just not agreeing with it calling Apollo Justice Trilogy. That's all I'm gonna say. I call it that to trigger him. Of course it is. But I like Dual Destinies. I really did. How it set up a lot of things. It did feel like a lot of it just felt really dragged on, which I think was just like the downfall of how did Great Ace Attorney did as well too. So that's that. Only wants to beat it, thanks to Right Ashes and Spirit of Justice, maybe. Spirit of Justice is long. I heard. Also, did you hear that they said Ace Attorney is never gonna stop? They're just probably planning on to do more later, which I'm fine with. Ace Attorney keep continuing. I am glad they're not doing it like year after year after year after year. No, they're taking like long breaks when they need it, because Spirit of Justice last time, like the last entry is literally Spirit of Justice, which I think is 2006. No, not 2016, not 2006. Oh my gosh. Let's see. But yeah, I'm the one pushing for finally push this finish this game. Yes. Like Paragon is the only one pushing me. But yeah, Apologist is, as you could say, like Ace Attorney, 4th or 6th. I only did the first case Apologist and I did it fine. No, like again, I enjoyed Apollo Justice. I can like when I played it from start to finish, I can see the dislike of it. It definitely has its own charm, and I don't dislike it. I will like wholeheartedly like say it is actually a fine entry. It did some things that may be a little bit, it did some things that are controversial to some fans, is really it. And I'm not going to go into detail what it is, because if you haven't played it and it's also that you only played the first case, I'm not going to say anything else other than that. But it is a nice game. I definitely will say it is like a nice entry. I think it's I think it gets a little bit more hate than it should, is what I say.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts? Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
No, it's not. I get a lot of flack for that. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, is Andrew done? Is Andrew donking? Oof. You what, mate?
Oh, no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10 stops away, on the underground from here. And Thorndyke Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Center. Does that mean Mr. Sholmes? Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is far less salubrious. God frickin' dang it with the big, strong words of English. No bat strats. Yeah. Far less salubrious part of town, by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means, I suppose Soseki-san does fit that bill. Fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. By the way, just to give you, Tishimita, some context, I know my controller is dying. I'm doing this on purpose. I like to do it like, keep going until my controller fully dies, and then I'll actually charge it, because I'm just stupid and stubborn like that. It sometimes stops at the most inopportune times, and I find that absolutely funny. I'm done! Hope you're doing good. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good too. Good. I hope your Starry Hunting has been doing well too. Have you? I forget. Have you played a lot of the Ace Attorney series? Because I'm playing this game and I'm in the second of the Great Ace Attorney games, and it has a lot of spoilers if you haven't tried it yet. So as a heads up. Struck me as my ordinary fine art student walking around in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Phoenix Trilogy and the single Paul Justice. Oh dear, do forgive me. That's good. At least you can get the Apollo Justice Trilogy to get to play like 5 and 6, so you can play it on Switch. Greatest Attorney Chronicles is also a nice game. So like the only Ace Attorney series that you cannot play on the Switch in any other console outside of its original DS is the Investigation series. Wait, is this the second or the first game? Second. It is. This case specifically is taking place in the first game. So, yes, it is timeline based in the first game, but this is the second game I'm playing. So yeah, and then I would recommend Gracious Attorney. It's long and complex, but it is a fun thing if you want to try it. That's fun and different. The Miles Edgeworth one, I played it. I have that on DS. I have both 1 and 2, even the 2, which has never been released in America. I have it on Japanese. I'm gonna get a patch for that just to play it. My least favorite one. Good. It was fun and different, as in case. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, to be honest though, every Ace Attorney series, every Ace Attorney game, I have a least favorite case in every single one. So, yeah, there's always that. Like in the first game, my least favorite one is definitely this. I'm pretty sure it's the second one. It's not really much of a case. It's more of an investigation, and it just early on, Susato being so jumpy about everything, it dragged on so many parts. Like I honestly got really sick of that case when I first played it with like Paragon and stuff. It was just bland. It was definitely by far the worst case in my book, just because it dragged on way too much on a lot of parts, and I feel like that was so unnecessary. It was fun and different. I want to try the investigations to actually see how it is. So I know it's different. It has walking.
If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. I'm done unpacking. Now I gotta pack. Now she has to pack her things, like her. Is Mr. Narrow Father here? Mr. Narrow Father. Narrow Father now? Well, if you're looking for Mr. Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me. But Narrow Father, good. This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy. Nutsmeg. God frickin' dang it. These nuts. I don't have a got him button. James, do you have one?
No.
I feel like I got one. Yeah, what's this for? Yeah, that works. I love that name. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. Mr. Natsumi sent a message to me? What a name! Why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsumi? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? What are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? He says, have you not seen this note? You took it away from me. No, how could I? Could I have? It would seem that that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsumi's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodging once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what?
Awhile, fierce.
Fireker, Fiaker, Farfer, Freakma, Pfeiffer, James! At once. That's what I'm calling it at this point. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Talk about going to court again. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. "21st February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor." James, you're dead! James, you're dead!
What?
What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead.
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsumi. Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Awful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah! It's not horrible, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Shoo, Shabab. Show yourself the door. I never invited you.
Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsumi.
I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do you for? For you. What can I do for you? It's Mr. Infinite Fries and Chips guy. Wait. It's Mr. Infinite Fish and Chips guy. Tisk. Here they. Oh my lord. I love it. Justin, amazing. What a perfect face. Tusk, here they are already, the busybodies. Ah, Mr. Inspector Gretson. What a pleasant surprise. Yoinked from the VOD. I figured you yoinked that face from the VOD. Oh, snap. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at the crime scene, Sholmes. Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Oh, or good morning to you, Sunshine. Can I move away? Nothing here. No, no. This room is called Mr. Shamspear's room. That doesn't tilt enough. Ooh. Okay, Andrew's redoing it. All right. Okay, there we go. That tilts more. Oi! I said, hands off. You're messing with my crime scene. No, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance. I know you're crying. You're messing it up just by looking at it. Look, someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air here, isn't there? Alright, sounds like you better talk to an inspector first and try to curry some favor. Ugh, curry. I like it. Oh, random sound effect. Hmm? What?
He's threateningly pointing his fries at you.
I mean, I will eat them. They're infinite. Oh, you got the switch. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. Oh my god, they really did just do a Shakespeare ripoff. Mr. William Shamspeare. He's a lodger here. As you probably tell, he was an actor, a bit of a dead loss, as it happens, or just dead. Mr. Shamspeare? It was the landlord, old Gerideb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsumi, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Gerideb got worried and kicked the door down. Doesn't Mr. Gerideb have a bad leg? Oh yeah, you're right. There, it was a jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? So Seki-san? Oh, he's actually wearing like Japanese sandals. Nice. The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintance were the people in this house. Huh, never noticed that. Well, now you do. Now you're looking at his feet. Feet pics. Miserable life, and then miserable ends to it. So, what exactly is Mr. Natsumi still doing here? He's not involved with the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabitor. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsumi appears to be under suspicion again. It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. Anyway, can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector even allowed it, I wouldn't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Touch. Hands off, blah blah blah. Bro, why is he wearing those shoes in this weather? Traditional Japanese? I don't know. I don't know about Japanese people. I know that Carl would be more inclined, a friend of mine would be more inclined to tell me the history about this, but if that was super. You say that, but we've had people like in America wear literal shorts and short sleeves in like snow weather. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, It starts happening all over again. Endless existence and excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we're neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken up by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to the room? Never! On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. Blame Capcom, Soseki-san. At least wear socks. No one ever wears socks in this cold weather. This man has had too much coffee. It's not coffee, James. That's not coffee. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you not, Haruha-san? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Haha! You need only observe to know, my dear fellow, investigating naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Cocaine? Yeah, probably cocaine. Man is on something. Patience, my dear madam, patience. You know, actually, during this time, cocaine, if it existed, actually was not legal. No. Was not illegal. Because cocaine was used in payment, and a lot of people had it, like in the 80s, even in the 1980s in America. So was a very common thing at some point. I remember one of the fun facts of learning was that the Blue Brothers, the 1980s film, the actors were paid in cocaine. Not like completely in cocaine, but like some of the contract allowed payment of cocaine for them to have. We've not been here in this room for 5 minutes. It's been like 5 days. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. My goodness, but isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? No, that you proposed the idea. I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I've managed to draw two incontrovertible conclusions. God freaking dang it, big words. The first, there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Natsumi, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant how? No, don't mind me. Forgot I was here. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense. Huh? Alright, Mr. Natsumi, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please. Pretend I'm not here. Invisible, inevitable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions presented for you for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the great past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? My dear fellows, For your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. Mr. Sholmes, the Sherlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning, Spectacular, Act 1. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. The case. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victims revealed to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, I noticed a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, half of the size of a bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is soap set so purposely upon a dish like the victim's Last Supper? In fact, yes. Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course! The fork reveals the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast, and London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather of the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. I believe it. Though personally I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. I'll believe it. Makes sense. I think all of us agree that it makes sense. There's no flaws in that deduction. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. That's a deduction time. Soap. Remember, kids, don't eat soap at home or whatever. I mean, you can technically eat soap. It's like, isn't that like...
I feel like you'd probably end up puking before it actually did anything.
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. It really depends on what soap is made out of.
Oh my god, Andrew. What the heck did you do to my face?
Oh god, that needs like an epilepsy warning.
Oh my god, that's a little much. Soap, smell... but soap smells nice. Do you eat soap? Soap is detergent and a major base. Don't eat it, lol. I mean, early soap, I think it was actually made with, like, fat and stuff. Causes identified. We proceed to the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's Last Supper. Did the man dine and dine alone? The single teacup is the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the soul key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with this inferior soap, whence he wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was very well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. No possible perpetrator present. I believe it. Oh, good. Case closed. Done. Case 2. Let's move on to case 3. GG's, everyone. Great deduction. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. GG. Exactly. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identify just one thing, aren't you? Mr. Naruto, pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so astute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. I mean, again, I think soap used to be like fat and stuff, so technically speaking, back in the day, it was somewhat edible, but that's like high concentration of fat. How extraordinary. In truth, I've tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago. Now, my postulation was that it would have cleansed my gut. And did it? As I wreathed in agony on the floor, I spilled the contents of my stomach. Yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? Mr. Natsume. I couldn't help but noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye, almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. No! Nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deduction may need some gentle corrections in order to reach its actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He had a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Blah. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Yes. We must pick out the key words in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for a second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1! Pick at stuff. Let's see. Careful observation. The victim reveals the events that transpired at this collection last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates abuse of poison. Next to the victim is noticed a large line there, which contains, you will observe, half of a sizable soap bar, meaning indubitably why the soap set was purposely upon the dish like the victim's last supper. It's in fact, yes. The fork reveals the answer. Well, you can't deny the fork implies the man is eating something.
or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soup, I prefer to use a fork. I prefer to eat some soup. I prefer to eat a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. Half the bar, but that might not be some. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soup. Dun 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 dun. It's a crazy frog! Alright.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I was. Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamspire must really have loved the stuff. It's not to jump to conclusions now. How to look more closely at the soap. Don't you see that it would fit perfectly with the half bar on the table? What the? How could that be? I think they're two halves of the same bar that broke apart. Do you think he was drinking tea with this soup? Cup's empty. There's no way to knowing. How about this idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water, and he was dissolving soap and gulping down as much as possible? Perhaps, please remember that he may not actually have been the soap lover that he's made out to be. Do I have to present?
Take that!
Could it be that the man was about to eat? Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive a man to attempt to eat soap. Even if I, with unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs a question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of food on the table. In the 1920s, when the game is set in, presumably soaps were made of animal fat, vegetable, and lye. Depending on the amount of lye used, lice are harmful and even fatal to swallow, ingestion, and cause esophageal structural. So yeah, I was right. It was animal fat and vegetable, but yeah, you're right with the lye. So it's technically speaking, in some parts of it were edible, but in absolute that's like absolute last minute desperation. Yeah, you could die, but if you think about it like that, Tashimi, like it was almost during the great, like it was early on, and a lot of people were not like the wealthiest, and it was also like getting close to the Great Depression. So it's like I could see some people being desperate enough to eat soap because it had fat and vegetable stuff, which could say enough nutrients to get you going through a day, but that probably kill a lot of people. It's not good for you, no, but I can see some people being desperate enough to eat it. A lot to die. Yeah, it's like kind of like how people, like, you can actually die from over drinking in coffee, water, and a lot of stuff. Like, you have to eat a lot of it. Honestly, at some point, I feel like when people eat enough of the soap, they probably got like so sick and poisoned that they were like on the deathbed anyway. So it's one of those like last resort survival instincts. Question: how the man was poisoned because there's no sign of food on the table. Excellent observation, Mr. Naruto, and one that
furnishes us with the answer we seek. The London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it. If the soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be wash my hands with it. But there's no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes through people's lips, is it? Perhaps a west vessel of serving of infusion of dried tea leaves. It's a teacup, Naruto, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty. Ah, so we've already established the victim wasn't eating soup when he died. However, this sniff evidence suggests that he was drinking tea. My thoughts exactly.
Take that!
Similar to drinking cactus milk. Oh yeah, you can't drink cactus. Not a good idea. Probably won't die, but you'll feel awful. The guy eating that much soup, yeah, no way he died RL. Unless he's choking on it IG. Well, I mean, here's the thing. You can also say like soup, depends on the soup, because some of the soup can be like really like too much. Or like, yeah, it has like too much stuff. So, Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel for choice of practicing poisoners over the centuries. It would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in this room. Which leads to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to ingestion of poison contained in his teacup. Reminder, there are joke corrections that are pretty darn funny in my opinion. It's true, but at the same time, I also like to try getting it on the first try, because I always aim for trying to doing it the first try, personally. If I get the joke ones, that's fine. Unless he's eaten a lot of soap beforehand, which theoretically is possible if he's really unwealthy. But yeah, if you just want to move on with soy, that's fine too. I mean, again, this is me also trying to get the answers on the first try, mainly. The cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. It's also like, yeah, this game's long. Was it suicide or murder? Just watch a YouTube vid later for them to avoid penalties. But the achievements. Screw your achievements! But yeah, I could watch the YouTube VODs. Like, YouTube VOD, that's why YouTube is around. It's like, when I watch, like, stuff, when I want to know what happens afterwards, I don't always want to risk it. This is like with court cases, too. It's like, I want to try to get the best options. I got a plat trophy. I don't recall doing something like that, but I forget. I think for a game like this, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm playing it on my Switch, as you guys could tell. The audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and dine alone? The single teacup's just the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in deduction so far. Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me is Mr. Natsumi's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it meets the eye. There's more deduction to this. There's more to this deduction than meets the eye. Snack time! God, have a snack ready? The annoying one was the step ladders, I think. I don't know that one. Ah. Popcorn. popcorn snack. I must closely examine the crime scene again for some clues. Okay, realistically speaking, he would not like hold the cups in his hand unless he's absolutely frozen. I'm just saying. It's another Western vessel infused. It's a teacup. And it too is empty. Given that he's actually holding it in his hand, we can assume that this is the teacup which Mr. Shamshir is actually drinking. And if that's the case, this changes everything. We've deduced. Turn around head. Bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it. Yes, I know exactly how you feel. But we gotta progress the story. Did the man dine and die alone? Did this other teacup suggest the answer? Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can say now that with certainty that someone else was here in the room last night taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly unbelievable, unjustly unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such mere evidence would be foolish. However, certainly, in which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil on the doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly who exactly was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruto. Oh, I suppose not. Time to look around again. It's Susato-san! It's Susato-san! She's the murderer! Seriously. Anything about the guest identity? Good point. Yeah, my dear. Snuffed out like a candle would be. If you sigh so deeply, Naruto, you're in danger of blowing out the flame. Flame is already burning in my... Yeah. It's empty. Empty liquid, but full of air. I guess you think it's full of air, we should think about... Bother. Sato's quips. At first glance, it seems like the only things in this room are makeshift stage and costume. Look, these 3 bricks initially. I wonder what they are. These titles read the picture of Monsieur Lecoq. Lecoq. Canterbury Yearnings and a meal for Gaboro? Wait, I'm sure I've heard these titles before. It could be just an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsumi purchased the other day. What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed, Saseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them. That's right. And now, those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Mr. Natsumi claims never to have been here before. What does this mean? Do you think... I really don't know what to make of it. Pile of familiar books.
I think I'm gonna head to sleep.
Oh, we're almost done, James. Let's finish the deduction together. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at the second-hand bookshop. That's just coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 tiles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodging, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could have only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. He did the hump. He did the hump. He's dancing into his room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. Don't you love incriminating your old friends, defending them in court? Love this. Yeah, I'll do that to you, Justin, all the time. By the way, we're going to the courtroom so I can incriminate you as a criminal for your gambling addiction and claiming yourself as the king of games, because that is already a title for Yami Yugi. Lawyers just doing their job. Hey, not all lawyers do this. Some of them do a terrible job. King of cheater games. Yes. Yes. No, that's exactly the title. No. That's totally true. Dang. That transition of just like that. Okay. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. Look at this smug look, James, right here. This angle at this face is just the smuggest look you could ever get. Yugi stacking the deck. Honestly, I don't know who's the most cheater in Yugi franchise history. Honestly, I would say Yugi would probably be one of the more cheater, because he doesn't even look at some of his cards when he pulls. He just like does it, and some of them are so coincidental, like the Berserker Soul thing. Like again, I don't know. I am pretty sure there's probably people who actually did like a lot of that stuff, but it's also like luck-based stuff is also there too. But I don't know. Yuma for Zexal. I haven't seen Zexal, so I can't say. I've only seen, I've seen most of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. I've seen all of the GX, and I've seen some of 5Ds, and I can say at least for the most part, all of them have some cheating to them, but at the most part, skills. Maybe one episode. He literally creates cards he needs to win duels. That's cheating. And that visitor. Oh boy. Was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholm's Great Deduction. Probably should have left it at like, no possible perpetrator. I'm just saying. So many Magic Pro players cheat. Kick. I mean, every card game cheats. There's always those like kind of cheaters. Not again, not again, not again. Not again. Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again. But wait. I feel like he called the wrong people at the wrong time, but then again, they would have found eventually. Hold your horses. Yes. Door. Key. Locked. Entry. Exit. Entirely impossible. He's so flustered that he's being even stranger than normal. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? What? You live in the same building after all. You'd have had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. Misery me! Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible Herlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dally. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Look, student Mr. Naruto Esquire. I also helped you to get caught, I'm just saying. I never managed. I'll be in this position again, but you have to help me, please. I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. I got Scottish a little bit. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. He probably would have gotten caught anyway. I know, I was like, he technically would have gotten caught anyway, and it would have been a little bit worse. So, And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. So Seki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to an incriminating deduction of the great detective. And you, I'm just saying, my dear fellow, the honor belongs to you. I'm just saying. Well, at least that means Mr. Inspector Gretson's no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And of course, what? Have you forgotten the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspeare. Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I suspect we could find him sitting in a room atop the floor as usual. Right, we must remember. Go talk to him later then. Alright. Well, James, we've done our deduction, so now you can go.
Have a good night.
Good night. Alright, being poisoned. Let's see. Japanese together to help a British. Is this Xenoblade 3 now? Except now they use a flute. I honestly have to say, Justin, it's getting hard for me to get into Xenoblade 3. I've been trying to go back into it over and over, so my head out soonish too. Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, random thought is that Xenoblade 3 has been harder and harder to get myself into. I think it's just mainly just the gameplay versus all the other games I've been playing. Make sure I have enough sleep. How much longer do I have, Justin, in terms of dialogue? Because it seems like I have to do investigation here, talk to Garadeb, maybe talk to Natsume, and then that's it, is what I assume. Is it gonna be like a until trial? I'm guessing this is until trial, right? Because like early games, it's like one investigation then trial, because it's not like the first game where it's like part 1 of investigation and then part 2 of investigation. Okay, yeah, so it's basically it. So yeah, I have a little bit left. Also, bruh, they're just gonna keep this corpse here without investigators. I mean, they're supposedly gonna have people come over or just something. I don't know. The case is lengthier than you think. I mean, it's just more of like how much more steps there are. So it's just like I can kind of see how much longer I can. Because it's like, it's one of those like, I don't want to go on for too much longer. It is getting pretty late. You could also do a part trial too. Nah, I'll take it in sections. It is already like almost 2 o'clock here, and I don't want to stay up too late. I do genuinely want to go to bed at some point soon. We took something from the evidence. Oh, the Reaper. I forgot about him. Right. He breaks his wine so recklessly and then keeps getting them. That's so expensive. Windows, having brick walls for windows is just terrifying. I was gonna say, they look like you can move them. I wasn't expecting the window to be actually more significant something. Oh dear, I suppose we should. Machine, gas meter. Ah, the gas meter. I'm saying I still have an hour plus on me. I don't know if... Oh, I thought you said going soonish. Go get a snack, Justin. Reading. You're needed here right now. Stop talking to other people than me. You need to talk to me. Only me. Can't socialize outside of me. I'm a great friend. See, this is why you should always take advantage of your friends so they can do all the favors for you. Take advantage of their lives. All their lives belong to me. I'm already starting my villain arc. I have to say, she gets a beard. A beard Susato-san? Ooh. Well, I checked everything in this room, so that means... I don't know what's gonna be there, though, Justin. That's the issue. I legit don't know, so I can't say anything about it. Like, obviously, games are always gonna be my #1 priority. Because, like, if there's, like, a retro game store there, then I always want to see what they have. Otherwise, I have zero clue what is the anime merch I would want, personally. Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode with a cannon. Haven't seen much. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, if there's nothing you can say in terms of what's guaranteed there, I can't guarantee what I will say until day of, really, when you actually go there. So, Yeah, we're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget. You chops, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. Much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all the business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb. Yeah, I suppose you'd like to know all about the dead loss of an actor chop in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Oh, he's standing. Oh, he's serious. He's standing. That's how serious men get when they actually stand from their comfortable seat. It's on all sides. Pounding cannon. Well, there's not much here I can do, so I'm just gonna regular converse. Yeah, reminder that he got his wife arrested for domestic violence. I forgot about that. I helped get her arrested. I was wondering where she is, and I was like, yeah, I forgot about that. It's been a long time since I last played a game. Yes, it's been a long time since I last played a game. No, it's been a long time since I last played the first game. This morning's incident. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Oh, well, that hopeless actor, Chop, rises... I don't even know what accent I'm trying to give him. I'm just trying to give him something more unique. At 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no Bailey answered. That's when you broke into his room by kicking down that door? Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do that grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruto. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Well, better be safe than sorry and all that. just me, or is he trying to avoid our gaze now all of a sudden? Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. The victim's name is just Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. William Shamspear took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word,
Destitute. Destitute. Destitute?
well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course.
They're making a bootleg Shakespeare? They made a bootleg Shakespeare? Well, the bootleg had to die because you can't just replace the original. Freaking copycat.
Of course, well, it's Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bar myself. You know, Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Romeo and... You combined two stories together. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. And the guy who basically written, like, at least 70-80% of the English language of the today. Like, in actuality, he invented a lot of the words that we use today. So, there's that. That's what I call leaving a big legacy. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsumi is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamsir would have had much in common. Shakespeare interpretation, disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude. Mr. Natsumi's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time.
Mr. Garadeb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose.
Couldn't summon the energy or for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning. I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Mrs. Soto? Well, I was just thinking, it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadeb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I understood correctly?
Not a big fan of stairs. Not with this blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know the precise movements of your tenants on the ground floor, I mean? That's a very good point. Can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. I was gonna say it's the gas meter thing. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's badly outraged. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spotting on my tenants. Why would I?
Then how did you know Mr. Garadeb?
It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything.
The gas? I was gonna say, yeah, it makes sense with the gas because he can tell when the gas is. He was kind of hinting at it. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you everything, let alone anything, let alone everything?
Well, as you probably are aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, yes, I'd more or less worked that out. I don't know how that was so hard. Every room in this building is connected to by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too.
Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously the room would be brighter.
Exactly. But at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms would be dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, wouldn't it? It's like a light bulb when you turn on like electricity, all light bulbs dim for a moment. Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out. They barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house.
Ah, that's right. I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
You've got it.
Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they are guaranteed to do is either light or put out the lamps and fires. Clever.
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh well, nothing to it really.
Well, and I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadeb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. I feel like I am done with here. So that means gotta move. All right. Local prison cell 9. Not here yet. I want to try a couple things though. Could I show you this? clearly not it. Again, there's the your books. Mm-hmm. Ah, she's gone. I'm kind of looking through to see if what I need to do. I just double checking a couple things. Oh, there's some soap over there. Pointless for that. I would say there's soap there. There's freaking soap there. Snowman. Yeah, it is Mr. Natsumi's bike, honestly. I think he mentioned that that was actually his bike. Yeah, I can't do anything in here. Let's see. Okay, so need to figure out what's next. Soseki-san Natsumi is not even at the prison yet. There's nothing to coerce. Can't present him really anything. Is there anything new here? Yeah, there's nothing in this room. I'm done with this room. No, maybe. No. Oh, she's having the teary eyes. Also, you were having a hard time remembering what to do. Oh, what the heck you do? Or no. And then you went back to typing. Cool. I can't go back upstairs. I can't. Oh, wait, no. Double check stuff. Double checked everything. Never mind, I don't know. Doesn't stop lying to me. It might be one of those things I have to check on a lot of things in order to it seems to be like a trigger of some kind that I need to do, and I have not found said trigger yet. Because the prison is completely useless. The only things I have not fully checked are the suite and Garadeb's room. I feel like the hint is to do something in Garadeb's room in order for him to reveal more. Because like it's mentioned that there's more he wants to know, like what the tenets are, like why he wants to do that. So that's what's like, that's a decent hint to be like, should be more to get into his more information. Oh my god, I'm yawning. Justin is like, is that oh wait times 3 or oh wait like x3? Drop. I haven't done. I'm sure the thing has happened yet. Let's see. this is the last thing, so I'm just like, this either it's this thing, or, which is very likely not, or it's somewhere else. Yep. That is the last thing, so I'm just like, I honestly don't think any of these are gonna work, but I can't rule it out completely, only because, like, I don't think any of these are gonna work. But I'm only doing this because, technically speaking, I said I ruled out stuff before, and they were actually a thing, so that's more on my end than anything, so yeah. I'm presenting my armband. He's the only one I can talk to at the moment, so that's why I have to just double check a few things. So I've checked everything in Briar Road. Checked everything in Sham Spears. Checked everything in Miss Green's head. And Shom Sweet's the only one that I haven't checked everything. That's the only place I haven't checked everything. I could do another check through Shamsphere's room. Like, I don't think it's in here either. This is just for extra dialogue purposes. I only could take Iris to talk to me. The gas is there. Check the stage. I've checked these. There's that. Nothing there. Teacup? Oh, it's a teacup. That's the only thing I haven't checked. It's such a minute. I took. Oh my god. That was an important thing, and I just brushed over it because it's part of his body. That's the thing. It's like it. Well, I wouldn't say part of his body. It's like it's close, so close to the body that it's such a. Yeah, it's such a tiny thing, and it's so close to the body that it's generally associated with the body. Yeah, it's yeah, I can see me being missing it, but yeah, I wish it was a little bit more obvious kind of thing. I don't know. Bigger hitbox, I would say then. There we go. That's the thing I'm missing. It's like, I swear I was done with everything. It's like, you have been good snooping around. Yeah, I was like, there had to be something to conclude this area. Inspector Gregson, back so soon? After I threw the little Japanese fella in the clink, I went to reported this investigation. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be condoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we'll be better leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsumi must be feeling very low being back in the cell again so soon. I'm sure we'll probably go and... What's wrong, Mr. Naruto? Out, brief condol, life but a walking shadow of a poor player. Justin, you didn't tell me this was a horror game. I didn't know we were talking to the dead. Justin, you lied to me. I hate this game. I hate you. This game is absolutely terrible. Why would you make a bring back dead men to life? 0 out of 10. That struts threats his hour law upon the stage, and then his eyes are no more. Every game is a horror game. That is very true. We discovered this early on. Kind of wanted James to voice this guy since you gave me the name. But oh well, maybe another day. It took a while to get here anyway. No. No, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury signifying nothing. Indeed. Oh, happy day. But... What? Walking Dead? The fella isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. If it wasn't from Hamlet, I would have immediately, like, had deja vu. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene crime, whatever that now was. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Matsume, arrested for a murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It very likely seems Shakespeare did consume poison, as we deduced, but it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder. Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope doesn't come to anything more than a night in cells. Oh, what's this? What's he doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see the Soseki's lodgings. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto? Excuse me, could we have a word? Bark. Oh! He just ran off. I'm sure. I feel like I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? Do you remember him? I feel like I recognize a little bit of him, but again, it was like a brief moment. I remember seeing two random characters. I do too, but I don't remember. Well, we've done as much investigating here as again. I think perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak to Natsume again. Good idea. Yeah, it was two of them together cameoed in the last case 4 in last game. Pretty much. First February. Local prison. Cell 9. Look, Naruto. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Locum student, no, it's the Naruto Esquire. Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes? He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolical discussions, they're not of his world. They've left me. But yeah, you're meant to see Shakespeare's revival, then visit Gyardeb, then finally Sasuke. Makes sense. No, it makes sense. Oh, curse think I'm cursed, I tell you. Oh, that sort of hurts. Credit to where credit is due. Mr. Naruto, you were heavily involved in the deduction too. I mean, I figured it was like into those 2 rooms, but I was like, I was missing something, and it was like the stupid cup. Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim we thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolute worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsumi?
It's terrible.
Oh?
I'm stuck in the cell, suffering from some silly wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess you're the killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That surface chest here. Make up your mind, or are you dead or alive? If you were go back to life, why bother dying? Wiggly wishy-washy, William.
Well, it seems likely Mr. Shamsir was never actually dead in the first place.
Oh yes, that might make sense. I'm pleased he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last.
Oh.
Oops.
Mr. Natsumi, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Shamspear, didn't you?
I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present.
Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsumi, we need to hear your side of the story.
Ugh, why am I cursed like this?
Dun dun. What had happened? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsumi?
There's nothing to tell.
But
Mr. Naruto Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to help.
we are eternally grateful. You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday.
The case that I saw Miss Portgreen hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday.
I understood the reference.
I'm glad that someone's actually old enough to get my references. Because you're old, Justin.
After the trial was over, I trudged my way back to my lonely lodgings. And even at past 9, it must have been, I visited Shakespeare,
Fierce old man.
So
you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared.
I didn't do anything wrong. I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time.
Then what made you decide to go?
I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed to a discussion. But we had to go out. So I paid him farewell. He had to go out. Paid him farewell.
That ties in with Mr. Gerdev said the victim went out and came back after 8.
We met again later that evening at around 9. And just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift.
So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was stronger? It was delightful debate. It was a delightful debate.
I'm sure.
Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare.
And the debate became very heated, so you slipped the poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea?
No, never. Not at all. Team Juliet won. That was me. And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear, categorically.
Mr. Natsumi, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Region for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that this place is no place for me.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land, adapt the ways of another culture.
There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They laugh, all laugh. That impression I get whenever I go out, it makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become recluse. And even in my room, I find no respite from my peers. I moved more times than I can remember. And then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it's so broke to me.
The rent?
Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh no.
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead, and no one could explain why.
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books! And comics custody. A horrible history is a small price to pay. I realized it would mean I could buy more books. I signed the lease like lightning.
Brave or blinkered?
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible the room really was.
Gosh. Was it really so awful? How did the room's horror history affect you, Mr. Natsumi? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare since I was given the keys to the place.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls who died in that room. I lean over in my sleep and try to strangle me.
That really is horrible.
And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamsir was wreathing in agony from poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated suddenly by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of the room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try avoiding a combination with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that yourself may become history. Phew, Susato-san knows how to make a man listen.
Of course. As the Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse under my room as well.
You mean Mr. Garadeb?
Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he will never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near that place. Ah, perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps close tabs on the occupants of his lead rooms.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
Oh dear. No, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsumi. Please forget I said anything.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is Mr. Shamsir isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around, he'll be able to tell us what happened. We'll be able to get you released.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Ahem. Excuse me.
Ahem. Excuse me.
Inspector Gritson.
I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh!
Which do you want first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first.
Honestly, I kind of want to take the bad news a little bit first, a lot of time.
When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle.
Alright, well, in that case, the good news is this.
Huh?
Sorry, but it's a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Then why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim's Shamspear was unconscious. He's come around now. Yes, we saw it happen, and in all its terrifying glowing. Oh, Gregson.
He's still been being treated by doctors, and we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsumi?
Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. Sorry, no. That's not on the cards.
What? Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone has been responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone? Oh, dear.
You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. The wickedest caitiff, Soseki Natsume.
No.
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make a necessary preparations.
No! Surely he is not gonna claim Soseki is responsible. I am shocked. Me too. I am very shocked too. Would never have seen this plot twist coming, Justin. What an incredible game this is. I thought he was gonna walk for free and we're gonna close case 2. I thought this was a short game. Justin, you tricked me. Why am I playing such a long game? I wanna quit now. What a strange turn of events. I say for certain, I never would have expected this. This is a first of its kind. It's revolutionary. What a strange turn of events. And so once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. To be continued. I can see how many more parts this is. This is probably like a 4-parter. So my guess is that this is the first part where we do the investigation. The second part is obviously the case itself. And then the third part is straight up the investigations again, because we're gonna because that person specifically and all the cameo, he's gonna clearly be in a investigations part. We're gonna call him. We can't just call up someone random without actually talking to them in any capacity. And then we're gonna have a second case that will just be like, this is all of it, unless the trials have 2 parts to them, which I don't think it's gonna be this early on. Later on is what I say.